Have you ever wondered why your eyes suddenly start watering whenever you cut an onion? You are just standing peacefully in the kitchen trying to prepare food. Then you make the first cut. Nothing happens. You make another cut. And suddenly your eyes start burning. Tears begin rolling down your cheeks. Your nose starts running. And within seconds, it looks like onion has reminded you of every sad moment in your life. But here is the interesting part. You are not crying because of the onion's smell, and the onion is not releasing tears that somehow enter your eyes. What is actually happening is much more interesting. The onion is launching a tiny chemical attack on your face. Yes, seriously. To understand this, imagine that every onion cell is like a very small room. Inside that room, different chemicals are stored in separate containers. As long as the onion remains complete, these chemicals do not touch each other. Everything stays calm. The onion can sit on your kitchen counter for several days without attacking anyone. But the moment you cut it, your knife breaks thousands of these tiny rooms. The containers inside the onion cells burst open. Chemicals that were previously separated suddenly mix together. And that is when the real reaction begins. One of the important substances inside the onion is an enzyme called alliinase. Now, do not worry about the difficult name. An enzyme is simply a tiny biological tool that helps chemical reaction happen faster. When you cut the onion, this enzyme mixes with sulfur containing chemicals that are also present inside the onion. Why sulfur? Because onion absorbs sulfur from the soil while they grow. This is also one of the reasons onion has such a strong smell and taste. When the enzyme and these sulfur chemicals meet, they begin creating new substances. One of those substances is eventually converted into a gas like chemical called propanethyl S oxide. Yes, the name sounds complicated, so let us call it by its simpler name, the tear factor. The tear factor is the invisible chemical responsible for making you cry. Because it is volatile, it can easily escape from the freshly cut onion and move through the air. So while you are cutting the onion, a cloud of invisible molecules begin rising from the chopping board. You cannot see it, but it is slowly traveling directly towards your eyes. And when these molecules reach your eyes, they touch the thin layer of water that is always present on their surface. Your eyes need this watery layer to remain clean and moist. But when onion chemical touches it, the sensitive nerves in your eyes immediately detect irritation. Your eyes basically say, wait, something dangerous has entered. Wash it out immediately. And that is exactly what happens. Your brain sends a message to lacrimal glands located above your eyes. These are the glands responsible for producing tears. The glands immediately release extra water to wash irritating chemical away. So the tears are not the problem. The tears are actually your body's solution. Your eyes are trying to protect themselves. It is similar to what happens when dust, smoke, or a tiny insect enters your eye. Your body does not wait for you to think about the situation, it reacts automatically. The tears begin flowing to dilute the chemical and remove it from the eye. But here is another interesting question. Why are your eyes so sensitive? A tiny onion chemical can make your eyes burn while the same chemical touching your hands usually does almost nothing. The reason is that the front surface of your eye, called the cornea, is one of the most sensitive areas of your entire body. The cornea is the clear protective layer covering the front of the eye. It contains a very large number of nerve endings. These nerves act like a high security alarm system. Your eyes are extremely valuable and extremely delicate. Even a tiny scratch can affect your vision. So your body does not take any chances. If something unusual touches the cornea, the nerve immediately sends an emergency signal to your brain. The brain then activates the tears. This is why even a very small eyelash inside your eye can feel extremely uncomfortable. The eyelash is tiny, but your eye's alarm system is incredibly powerful. The onion simply activates this same system using chemistry. But why does an onion even contain these chemicals? This is an important question. Did onions evolve just to ruin your cooking experience? Not exactly. The chemical reaction is actually part of the onion's natural defense system. Think about it. An onion is a plant. It cannot run away when an animal tries to eat it. It cannot punch an insect. It cannot scream for help. So, plants use chemicals to protect themselves. When an insect, animal, or any other attacker damages the onion, its cells break. The same chemicals mix together and produce strong smelling and irritating substances. These chemicals may discourage insects and animals from continuing to eat the plant. So, when you cut an onion, the onion does not know that you are preparing dinner. From the onion's point of view, it is under attack. Your knife is acting like the teeth of a giant animal, and the onion responds using the only weapon it has: chemistry. What is even more surprising is that scientists discovered that onions have a special enzyme whose job is specifically connected to producing this tear causing chemical. In 2002, Japanese scientist Shinsuke Imai and his research team discovered an enzyme called lacrimetal factor synthase. Lacrimetal simply means something that produces tears. This enzyme helps convert the onion chemicals into the tear factor that reaches your eyes. So the onion does not simply release a random irritating substance. It has a tiny molecular machine that helps create it. That is honestly quite impressive for something sitting inside your vegetable basket. Now you may be thinking, why do some onions make you cry so much more than others? Sometimes you can cut an entire onion without any problem, but another onion can make you cry after only one cut. This happens because different onions contain different amount of sulfur compounds. The variety of onion matters. The soil in which it has grown also matters. Even its freshness and storage conditions can affect the reaction. Your knife can also make a difference. When you use a dull knife, it does not cut cleanly, it crushes and damages more onion cells. More damaged cells means more chemicals mixing together, and more chemicals mixing together means more tear factor in the air. A sharp knife makes cleaner cuts and may reduce the amount of a cell damage. It will not completely stop your tears, but it can definitely help. The way you cut the onions also matter. If you make only a few large cuts, fewer cells are damaged. But when you finely chop the onion into dozens of tiny pieces, you destroy many more cells. More destroyed cells, more chemical reaction, more invisible onion gas, more tear. So, how can you stop yourself from crying? There are many strange tricks on the internet. Some people say you should hold breath in your mouth. Some say you should chew gum. Others suggest keeping a spoon between your teeth or lighting a candle beside the chopping board. But many of these methods are not very reliable. The most effective solutions are the ones that deal directly with the tear causing chemical. One simple method is to chill the onion before cutting it. Keeping it in the refrigerator for some time can slow down the chemical reactions inside it. The cold temperature may also reduce how quickly the tear factor escapes into the air, but do not freeze it completely. Cutting a frozen onion may save your eyes but create a much bigger problem for your fingers. Another useful method is ventilation. You can cut the onion near an open window, under a kitchen exhaust fan, or beside a small fan that blows the chemical away from your face. Remember, the tear factor has to reach your eyes to make you cry. So, if the air moves it in another direction, your eyes remain safer. You can also keep your face slightly farther away from the chopping board. Standing directly over the onion means chemical rises straight towards your eyes. And yes, wearing sealed goggles actually helps. You may look ridiculous while preparing dinner, but the goggles create a physical barrier that prevents onion vapor from reaching your eyes. Normal glasses may not work properly because the chemical can enter from the sides, but properly sealed goggles can block it. No chemical reaching your eyes means no alarm signal, and no alarm signal means no flood of tears. You may have also heard that onions produce sulfuric acid when they touch water in your eyes. This explanation is commonly repeated, but it is not completely accurate. Your eyes are not filling with dangerous battery acid. The main problem is the tear factor itself. It irritates the sensitive nerves on the surface of your eyes, and your body responds by producing tears. So, the next time someone tells you that onion creates sulfuric acid inside your eyes, you can confidently correct them. There is another interesting detail. Why do cooked onions not make you cry? You can eat cooked onions without your eyes burning. But cutting a fresh onion can become a complete emotional experience. The reason is heat. The enzymes responsible for creating the tear factors are proteins. When they are heated, their shape changes and they stop working properly. So once the onion begins cooking, the tear producing chemical reaction is greatly reduced. At the same time, the onion's strong flavor begins changing. Water evaporates, some harsh chemicals break down, and onion slowly becomes softer and sweeter. The same vegetable that attacked your eyes a few minutes ago can become sweet and delicious after cooking. That is a pretty dramatic personality change. And one final interesting fact: the tears produced while cutting onions are not exactly the same as emotional tears. Your body produces different types of tears. Basal tears are always present in your eyes to keep them moist. Emotional tears appear when you feel sadness, happiness, stress, or strong emotions. And reflex tears are produced when something irritates the eye. Onion tears are reflex tears. You are not emotionally upset. Your eyes are simply cleaning themselves. So even if someone walks into the kitchen and sees you crying, you can tell them, I am not sad. My trigeminal nerve is responding to propanethyl S oxide. Although saying that may create more questions than simply blaming the onion. So the next time you cut an onion and tears begin rolling down your face, remember what is actually happening. Your knife breaks the onion cells, separates chemicals mixed together, enzymes create an invisible tear factor. That chemical rises through the air, It reaches sensitive surfaces of your eyes, your nerves detect danger, your brain activates the tear glands, and your eyes begin washing the chemical away. All of this happens within just a few seconds. So, no, the onion is not making you emotional. It is activating an ancient chemical defense system, and your eyes are simply defending themselves from the attack. The onion may look harmless, but the moment you lift the knife, the chemical battle begins.